So in one of the last episodes, I showed you how to plant corns from either seed or by using transplants. So this is the corn that we planted about, I would say, a month and a half ago. And as you can see, the corn's pretty tall now. It's probably, even with a raised bed, well, it's not that tall, but the corn's about a couple feet, maybe 3 feet or so. And this is just after a month and a half of growth. Corn is a pretty fast grower, but it grows even faster towards the end of its life cycle, right before tassels and flowers, as you can see with the corn behind me. So this corn here was planted about 2.5 months ago. And the reason that there's only a couple corns because we went away for vacation and a whole bunch of corn died when I wasn't around to water them in the beginning. So ideally you actually want an entire block of corn. So as you can see, the pollen will actually fall down and hit the ears here to ensure good pollination. But we raced to plant these corn from seed and from transplants so that way these corn could catch up and hopefully overlap in terms of the pollination cycle. But I think there's not going to be any more pollen from these corns in a week or so. These corns will have to pollinate by themselves, which should be pretty easy because there's a lot more corn than the corn you see in the back. So let me take you to the front yard where you can actually see corn that has been growing for about 3 months. And you can see the difference between the size of the corn here and the corn in front. So you remembered in our garlic video that we harvested a whole bunch of garlic from the raised beds right out here. So after we harvested the garlic, I put in the corn transplants that were growing indoors for about a week or so, and we put them outdoors. And this area gets full sun, and it also gets some water from the sprinkler that I've set up back there. So this is an optimal place to grow corn. So you can see the corn back here has been growing for about 3.5 months by now. And as you can see, the corn is actually pretty tall. Some of the corn is about, I would say, 8 feet. Majority of them probably about 6-7 feet. And when the corn grows to a certain height, they start flowering, tasseling. So the top part is the male part, the pollen. And the pollen falls down to the silks, which you can see on the sides. And that's how the corn gets pollinated. So we actually know that the corn is not ready to eat, even though it's been about 3 months, because in our experience, the corn is not ready until about early August. And there's a couple ways we know if corn's ready, and we'll probably describe them in more detail, more length in another video. But what I want to point out in this video is that the corn basically needs to have very dry tassels. And also the corn needs to feel full at the end. So those are our two basic guides to seeing whether a corn is ready to eat or not. And again, I'll go into some of the explanation in a little bit more detail because there's a lot of dependencies such as do you want the corn to be sweeter or do you want the corn to be a little bit chewier. So that will affect the harvest period. And also what will affect the harvest period is the amount of corn you want to eat. So as you can see on each stalk, you'll probably have around 2 to 3. So some gardeners actually will prune or thin out the ears of the corn. So for example, if you look at this stalk here, you can see there's one ear here, 2 ears here, and there's another third one that's growing. So if you want the 2 ears here to be a little bit bigger, so what people will do is they'll actually tear this off. So I've done that in the past. I've been pretty aggressive in thinning out and pruning out my corn. But this year I'm just gonna let them be and not touch them because what I found is that if you actually, if you're a little too aggressive, you're gonna tear these leaves off. And the leaves are what gives the corn energy and nutrients. So actually another way to tell when the corn's ready is to look at the leaves. So you can see here the leaves are actually pretty green. As the corn starts to mature, they'll start sucking energy from these leaves. So the leaves will actually start turning brown. So I think there's an example maybe over here or so, maybe this one, and maybe these leaves here. So as you can see, these leaves are a little bit older. They're a little bit more browner. And that's because the corn's actually sucking energy from these leaves. So that'll probably do for this particular episode. In the next episode, I hope to bring you along as we actually harvest corn from these beautiful looking corns we have here. We'll be really excited. I'm sure our family and friends will also be excited to eat glutinous flaxseed corn. So that does it for today's video, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.